with other professionals, industry experts, and organizations, which enable us to reimagine education in the world of tech in the African context. Please, if you are joining in and your mic is on, kindly mute. Kindly mute, kindly mute. Kitsao, Katana, please kindly mute Kitsao. We need to have one meeting. Kitsao. Kitsao, Katana, if you can hear me, please mute your mic, or you are really giving us a trouble. So as I was saying that STEAMLabs is also partnering with other professionals, industry experts, and organizations that enable us to imagine education in the world of technology, more so in the African context. So this encourages the students and educators to see the African challenge as opportunities that need our action. So what we are seeing here as STEAMLabs Africa, we develop content, we train and facilitate courses. We build and support communities that encourage the uptake of computer science from an early age. So realize that from age 4, this learner who is probably joining school, maybe PP1. So we engage these students right away because we understand their brains are kind of elastic and they can really learn and their creativity is at high stake. So we see STEAMLabs education as the chief cornerstone of African challenges. And so this has made it possible through exposure to pathways such as computer science, AI, which is also we call it as artificial intelligence, engineering concepts, the SDGs, and a clear understanding of the world that is a global citizenship from exactly at that age 4 of this student. So welcome again, those who are joining. This is your home, a learning hub for you as an educator. And we are happy to be with you this evening. We look forward to learn and share ideas on how we can actually empower the African child we normally interact with from our schools. Kevin Ambaji. Mbagi. Kevin, how are you? So as we wait for the others to join, let's give them like 2 to 5 minutes. Again, I'm going to give an overview of what STEAMLabs does. Whoever is joining, and probably this person has not heard of STEAMLabs Africa. This is now a great opportunity to understand what STEAMLabs do, and you be part of it, so that we can realize the vision as a community. So welcome again. We are STEAMLabs Africa. My name is Joel Kahindi, and STEAMLabs Africa is a registered social enterprise which is aimed to empower the African students, educator, and community through STEM education. So our main mandate is to inspire, inform, and empower. So those three words are very critical as STEAMLabs. So we work with students aged 4 to 18, and we seek to ignite their minds. We spark creativity and their curiosity to learn. So our curriculum, which is the 21st century curriculum, focuses on three major goals. The first item is identifying the problem. Then we use the human-centered approach to problem solving, after which we align the 21st century technologies to develop solutions. So we work with the students, educators, schools, universities, communities to empower them to harness the power of technology and, of course, to create their full potential. So we partner with professionals who are like-minded. We also partner with industry experts, organizations who enable us to reimagine education in the world of tech, specifically in the African context. So as STEAMLabs Africa, we develop content, we train and facilitate courses, we build and support communities that encourage the uptake of computer science from that early age. So again, our main focus is to ignite the creativity, and we also need to understand that the African challenges can be solved, okay? And they can be solved by we Africans, not anyone from outside Africa. So our main focus in that is we need to expose, we have mandated to expose the students to a diverse pathway related to areas of computer science, areas of artificial intelligence, computer engineering, and the SDGs, Sustainable Development Goals. And also our focus still goes on global citizenship, how this learner will understand that he's not living in isolation, that he has to connect to the world exactly at that very early age. So welcome everyone. I want us to start. Our trainer is joining us in a while. We have an expert who is going to take us through, but as we wait for her, I don't know, we can begin. Ignatius, welcome. So for the purposes of this session, if you have a laptop, that will be better, because at one point you'll be engaged. You can learn best by doing. So if the activities for you to do then it will be much better for you to try it out so that you really internalize all the concepts that will be unpacked. If you are joining using the phone, that's all right. But immediately, probably after the session, when you get back to your place, you try it out. You try it out. So we are waiting for the trainer. Meanwhile, I just want to try to share my screen. Is my screen visible? I want to confirm, please.
Yeah, it's visible.
Okay,
yes,
thank
the
you.
screen is visible.
You know, this virtual world, you may think you are actually connected, but you need to have a confirmation. So what you do, of course, Scratch is one of the programming softwares. Those who have done computer science understand that programming can be done in a number of ways. So Scratch just 1 minute. All right, so sorry for that. I was consulting something. Now, for you to get to Scratch, you actually have to go to the website. We have two versions of Scratch, and we have the web-based Scratch version and the offline Scratch version. So the offline, you need to download it, and maybe we shall also, if we get some time, we are going to demonstrate how you can get the offline version so that you download and install it to your devices. It is going to be cheaper that way. So you go to your browser and search for Scratch, just Scratch login or Scratch www.scratch.com, and you get to these web pages. The first one here says Scratch login. So I click on that. So if you are new to this platform, you are required to actually join Scratch. You need to go to this button where you have join Scratch if you are new, so that you can sign up. Scratch team will be picking your personal information for the purposes of that account. But if you already have an account, you go ahead and sign in. So for me, I have an account, and so I just have to log in. Okay, so once you log into the Scratch interface, you realize that we have a number of action buttons on top here. And the first one is create, the other one is explore, and then we have ideas. We also have about. And for you to confirm that it is you logged in, your username will be displayed on the top right corner. So if now you want to get just ideas on how to come up with a project. So our project is that mix of block, or if we have the blocks, or we go to the coding and have a series of blocks, then that can form the program. And so if now you have to get some ideas, then you can go to the idea section and try to see what is there and borrow some ideas for you to come up with a project. Okay, basically with Scratch, you can come up with animations, you can come up with games, you can come up with videos, short videos, and so on and so on. So if you get to this idea section, you can scroll down and see here you have a number of projects that were done by other people. But if you click inside, you click on it, it opens and it shows you how that project was done. So you can begin from that point and then pick the ideas as indicated. What is required out of you is just being creative. Scratch, your creativity is what is required for you to come up with. You must think of what do you want to make. Do you want to make a game? Do you want to make a conversation? Do you want to make a children playing? What do you want to make? That's where you begin. And then now you go to the creation area for you to create. And then after that, you can share your project to other people. So all these are projects done by people, and you can view them. You can see how the blocks are arranged for you to at least get a grasp of what is required, or what actually is the starting point for you. Now, if all is okay for you, you go to create, and this is where you must have thought of what you want to create. So you click the button create. You give it some moment to open. Now, if that button opens up, I mean, if you land to if you hit the create button, then you land to this page where you have some sections here, action buttons. We have file here, we have edit here, we have tutorials. Again, under tutorials, this is where you can also get more ideas. You can see other projects done by people and pick the ideas, then build up with your own ideas and come up with something new. Okay, so this is the platform. Okay, this is the interface for Scratch. I look at it to the top. I mean, from top left corner, we have the code section, and the code section is in different categories. So here we have the first one, motion, and motion. Click on the motion, you get a series of blocks here, which actually defines the movement of a sprite. We shall see later on what a sprite is. Then we have loops, the blocks and the loops. This is where now we have blocks that can trigger. Okay, actually, if you want to make a conversation and the looks, you find blocks like the one we see here, which say hello, thing. all these blocks are just under looks, and then we can also see blocks under here. We have switch costumes to next costume, that is under looks, and then we have sound. Sound blocks. The interface has inbuilt sound. Scratch has inbuilt sounds, but the beauty of Scratch, again, you can make your own sound and integrate it into your own project. So you go to sound, you can play around with the sound and come up with your own project, own sound that you can infuse to your project, depending on what you can. Okay, then the events, this is the section where most of these blocks trigger the blocks, the series of blocks you've made. If you want to command the blocks to do the action as programmed, then you go to events, and then control. Of course, these blocks give you control. The conditions, the rules are found under control, plus many others. Sensing, operators, variables, and all that. Okay. So we have this middle section. Then we have this area where we have the cat, and the cat is the default sprite for Scratch. We talk of Scratch, then for the students, if you realize that we talk of Scratch, what comes to their mind? Most of them say the cat, because the cat is now the default sprite for Scratch. So if you get to this point, this is where you put the blocks. This is where you do the program. You arrange the blocks, putting the conditions of what you want in the game, in the animation, or in the play, in the conversation. Then this stage is or the stage is where the sprites and what we call the background will show up as you continue building up on your story. Okay. At this point, I just want to confirm whether we are moving together.
We are good. We are.
Okay, thank you for that. Thank you for that. So, Afandi, I don't know, Afandi, are you in the room? Okay, so as
we are together.
Okay, thank you. So as we continue, now I want to show you how we can. Please mute so that we move together.
No, go.
Okay, thank you. So as we continue, at this point, this is the sprite, defaulted sprite. This is the cat, which is the default sprite for Scratch. And then below it, we have a series of commands. We have the sprite name. This is sprite name, sprite 1, get sprite 1. But you can come here and change the sprite. You can write maybe cat, if you so wish. Okay, so this gives you an opportunity to play around in putting the names of the sprite that you want to have in your program. Then we have the X and Y axis. It is about the Cartesian plane, and so you realize that as the cat, the way the cat is positioned right away is that X is 0 and Y 0. And there's some bit of mathematics here that which can also be meaningful as you do the programming. Then down here, down here, we have 2 actions, and the first action is choose a sprite. Okay, so you hover around, and we have choosing a sprite, the first option. You can choose, you can paint. Basically, you can also come up with your own sprite. If you don't want the cat to be your sprite, then you can go to paint and come up with your own sprite. Okay. You can also upload your own sprite if probably you have a real picture that you took probably using your smartphone and you want to use that one as a sprite. The platform gives you the option to really go ahead and use it. Be it desktop. Then the other action button is we have what we call backdrop. So you can choose a backdrop, and a backdrop in the layman's language is just a background. Okay, if you click here, for example, you get a number of backdrops, several of them, and then you can just choose which one you want. You can also come up with your own backdrop or background if so wish. You can again upload a backdrop of your own choice, probably out of the photos that you have in your desktop. So if I click choose sprite, okay, we have so many sprite displayed, and can go to the animal category, you can go to people, you can go to fantasy, dance, music, sports, food, fashion, letters, whichever area is of concern for you. You have the option. So for example, if I go to people and then I choose let's say I choose whom do I choose now? I choose Ben. Okay. So Ben will come. This is a sprite I've just chosen from the gallery of sprites. Okay, but I can, if I don't want to use this cat, you know, here there's as a thumbnail for that cat, and there's something here displayed as a waste bin. I can click on it and delete that cat. So I remain with this sprite that I've chosen. Okay. So choosing a sprite is one of the skills that is something you need to understand. So once I choose a sprite like that, what do you want the sprite to do, for example? Okay. What do you want the sprite to do? What do you want the sprite to do? Probably you need to have a conversation between Ben, this is Ben, and probably another person. So if you need to create a story in form of a conversation, then you can choose another sprite. Let's pick who? Pick someone else here. Pick Ben. Can we pick this girl here, and let's name this girl Amina, for example. Okay. So we have two sprites. Okay, we have Ben and Amina. Now, what do you want these people to do? Of course, you must have thought what you want to develop, what you want to create. So for me, I want to create a conversation. These people, Ben and Amina, are just having a conversation. And so I can begin by putting a command to Ben. I go to looks, and under looks I pick this block which says say hello. Okay, so I just want to give Ben instructions that he should say hello to Amina. So I pick a block and bring it here. This is the block, the programming or blocking area. Okay. So if I bring this, remember this is for Ben. Okay. Anytime you take a block see what, if you have like more than one sprite, of course, you must understand which command is given to which sprite, because that is the instruction that has to be clear. So I want Ben to say hello to Amina, okay? And then what else can you say? Then Amina should also say something, okay? But before that, let's see, we need to put some control that if maybe when we click the green flag here, we have this green flag and this button. So when you click green flag, then Ben should say hello. So now if I click, Ben says hello. Okay. So we are seeing that our background, the background is just clear. We have not put any background. So before we proceed, maybe where do you want this conversation to be taking place? The environment, is it a home environment? Is it a town environment? Where specifically? So go to the backdrop gallery and choose the gallery that you want. Okay, I mean, choose the backdrop that you want. So in this case, let's say we choose the desert backdrop, and you see now we are creating some kind of perspective and some of reality in the story that these people are in the desert. Okay, so we have given one command to Ben. Ben, say hello to Amina. But what will Amina, because Amina has to also say something. Okay, so you go to Amina and probably give Amina some instructions or reply. So you go to looks category again, and then pick that block that says hello. But this time, probably you want to say, to command Amina to say hello, 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 Ben. Hello, Ben. So you can actually type in what you want this person to say. Okay, hello, Ben. Hello, Ben. Now again, this should be given some control, not control, but we need to put if we click the flag, that's the instruction should pick. So that is an event. So we pick this block and put it here. Okay, so let's see, will this work? If you click on the flag, you see now they are talking, but you realize they are all talking at the same time. Ben is saying hello, Amina is saying hello, Ben, and that is not probably what you want. You want these people to talk one at a time. So what do you do at this point now? You need to go to control. Okay, when Ben says hello, there should be a moment of silence, and you bring in the block that says wait, and at what, I mean, for what time, what amount of time do you want Ben to wait for the other person to say? So you can put here like 2 seconds. Okay, so this means that when Ben says hello, there will be some kind of moment of silence, and then Amina will reply. So let's see. Okay, that is not that has not picked. Probably we need also to put a wait block here. Let's see. Wait for 2 seconds. Okay, they are all talking at the same time. Okay, so we also need to, as I said earlier, it is out of your creativity. You need to understand. You need to actually play around with the blocks, get the tips from the tutorials, and play around with those blocks, and finally we'll come up with a game. So let's see. Okay, So you realize that I've interchanged the blocks here. That is the blocks for Ben, and I said Ben should wait for Amina first, okay, to talk. This one has picked. If you click the green flag, you see that Amina is starting the conversation. Hello, Ben, and Ben says hello. So we can also say here, we can add something here like hello, Amina, so that this thing becomes real. Hello, Amina. Hello, Ben. Hello, Amina. So just like that, okay? Just like that, a story has started. So maybe you want to give more command that you want to instruct Ben maybe to say, let's go to the city, or let's go to the market, or let's go to school, something like that. So what do you do? What do you do next? You need to add more blocks. Hello, Ben. Hello, Amina. Okay, so who has started the conversation? In this case, Amina started the conversation. So we can see, we can give more commands to Amina. Amina, we can provide some command, some more blocks. Okay, and say something here. Let's go to the market. Let's go to the market. So this conversation you keep building the conversation. You know, you have the story, you have imagined what you want to create. So the story for me is just a conversation. So I keep building the story, but this time I'm just letting them converse, letting them talk to each other, and the story goes on. Okay, so again, if I click on this flag, Amina start the conversation. Okay, and then there's another instruction that I put that Amina says, let's go to the market. Okay, so up to that point, I don't know, are there some questions before we continue building up the story? You can put a question in the chat. You can raise up the hand so that we get to hear whether we are moving the right direction together as a community. Someone says a voice up. I don't know. Is my voice too low?
You're just fine.
Okay, thank you. Up to that point, kindly, if there's any concern, a question, probably a comment.
Makuba, please put off your video.
Yeah, please, Makuba, if your video is on, it really takes it's on our data, and so we we are living in a very difficult times where things are not moving, but we sacrifice and get some data internet data bundle, so we need to be cautious to each other. If you put your video on, then it means you use a lot of data, and also you also eat part of our internet. So Please mute. Wycliffe, I'm seeing your hand is up.
Yes, please. I'm very grateful for the lesson that you have just done. My question is there a way in which we can make the bend and to have emotions as if they carry up, they wave, or do anything, or am I moving very fast? Because I'm just they are a bit static, but they are talking. Is there a way in which we can make? Okay, fine. Thank you.
Okay. All right. Thank you, Wycliffe. So we are just on the right track. So what happens with these sprites? In this case, we have Ben and Amina. If you look at the buttons we have, the action button, or the top left section, we have code, then costumes and sounds. So if you go to costumes, okay, if you go to costumes, you'll see the possible ways in which Ben can appear. The possible ways in which Ben can appear. So those are what we refer to as costume. So like here we have 4 possible ways in which Ben can appear, right? And this is the simplest way of making the body to behave in a way that to create some kind of life. Okay, this is the basic way. We shall see other ways in which we can move or we can animate the sprite, but the basic ways is getting to the costume and see what are the possible ways in which Ben can appear. So Ben can do this. Okay, Ben can do this. Ben can do that. Those are the defaulted ways in which Ben can appear. So if you go to Amina, you see Amina has quite a number of costumes. So Amina can appear in different 10 ways. So Amina can appear in Amina can appear in that way. Amina can appear in this way. Okay, Amina can come up with another look. Amina can also come up with another look. So those are the costumes. Okay, those are the costumes. So if probably you want to actually bring in a sense of life to the to the sprites, then you can play around with the costume section and come up with a way in which the costume can change the position, can change the way they look on the stage. So getting back to the code now, maybe we are still on Ben, and if we hit the green button, then the flag, the conversation goes on. But we can go to change costumes. Okay, we can go to change costumes and try to give command to Ben. Maybe at one point it looks like this, at other point it looks a different position, so on and so on. So you can give that command, say after he says hello Amina, probably Ben can switch the costume. Okay, Ben can switch the costume. You can bring that block in here. Okay, so we have blocks D, E, B, and A. Those are the possible ways we have seen and the costumes that Ben can appear. So we are at D, and probably after maybe it says hello Amina, let's say Ben changes costume to B. Okay, so let's see, we hit the green the flag again. Okay, are you seeing that? So Ben now appears in a different kind of stretching the leg, and that brings some sense of life in the game on the conversation. Okay. I don't know whether that is clear, Wycliffe.
Yes, it's clear now. I can see it's clear. Thank you.
Okay, okay. Any other reaction? Any other reaction? Hello, Afandi. Is Afandi in the room?
Hello, Joel.
Yes, Afandi, welcome. Can you hear me?
I can hear you loud and clear. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can get you clearly.
Okay.
So welcome. I had started and we are almost halfway the journey. So
Okay.
please, can you just speak from where I left and maybe give some highlights of what you have concerning the today's sessions.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
I'd advise that you please don't stop sharing your screen so that I can also just get an overview of what you've done, the Scratch screen.
Okay.
Yes, so I can
Okay.
just proceed also from that angle as well.
It's okay.
Okay. Okay, good. Hello, everyone. My name is Afandi Ndiatsi, and I am the head of student programs at STEAMlabs Africa. I'm happy to be part of the team. And I'm also happy to see that there's a very big number that is interested to be part of understanding how to use Scratch in education purposes. I've seen what you've been doing all along, Joel. So thank you so much for your good explanations and everything. You've been explaining from a learner's level, and it makes it very easy to understand. I know when you think about coding the first time, even as an educator, it's a bit scary. You think about something that is very complex, and it seems even at some point it's unachievable. But I want to advise that it's not something that we cannot get to. It's something that we can actually do and achieve together. At the same time, I'd want us to realize that it's possible for us to use coding in all educational activities, in class setups, even in mathematics, in arts, in everything that we do. We can use coding to do the same, to make things entertaining in class, to make things more understandable. Also, when teaching coding itself, we can use it to contextualize different concepts in an African setup. As we always say, we are creating problems to solve we're creating solutions to solve African problems, not solutions to solve every problem in the world. We are trying to make solutions for our African problems, yeah? So thank you, Joel, for that. I really appreciate it. Yeah, I realized you've talked about the different kind of blocks that we have, the different sprites that we have, even about costumes and everything. So I won't get very much down into that, but I can just give a big overview of the different kind of blocks that are existent. So the motion blocks, the good thing about Scratch is it's being created in a way that we human beings can understand what it means. It's just English. When you hear motion, motion means movement. So anything to do with motion blocks, it means movement. So that's why you can see move 10 steps, turn 15 degrees. All of these are movement. Then we go to looks. Looks is all about how you visualize things on the computer, on the character that you're having. So you have like say hello, and this you might say, oh, but say hello is something that is said. It's not something that comes up. But then when Joel runs his program, the say hello comes to the sprite. It doesn't play like a sound that's saying say hello. It's showing on the sprite. Even when we do switch costume, yes, you can see hello Ben, hello Amina. It's showing on the screen it's not something that we hear. When you see switch costume, the costume changes. Ben lifts his leg and everything of the sort. Yeah. So that's what we mean by looks. You see what is being done on the screen. When you talk about sound, this is what I mean by what you're going to hear. You can see play sound, until done, start sound, and everything of the same sort. So we can even put start sound referee whistle just right under switch costume to Ben B. Then we can hear what it's going to do. Joel, can you just kindly do that for us? The second one, start sound referee whistle. Yes, that one. Thank you. Yes, and then we can click the green flag. Okay, I'm not sure if your microphone, your volume is on, but we should hear the whistle playing. We should hear a referee whistle when it's done. So if you do it on your own side, if you want to move the block by yourself, if you've been following what Joel is doing, you'll realize the whistle plays. If immediately the costume is changed, you'll hear the whistle, the referee's whistle.
Yeah.
Yes. Then when we proceed to events, when we talk about events, what we mean is, let's think about like Huduma Day that is upcoming on Monday. When Huduma Day comes up, we are expecting a couple of activities taking place. We are expecting probably a speech from our president. We're expecting us talking about what Huduma Day is on that specific day. We're also expecting a holiday. So when an event is happening, we're expecting a couple of activities to take place. That's why we're calling them events blocks. So that's why you see when a green flag is clicked, we're expecting waiting for 2 seconds. We're expecting hello Amina. We're expecting the switch costume, and we're expecting a sound to be played. So that is what events do. You can see when space key is pressed. So that means when we click on the space key, we're expecting a couple of activities to take place. When this sprite is clicked, we're expecting when you click the sprite, a couple of activities will take place. So however much I'm going over this very fast, I will try my best to do like a very quick overview of maybe like one of the event blocks that I'm talking about, so that you can also understand apart from what Joel has just done. Then we can go to the control blocks next. So control blocks, these talk about controlling the whole code. So you might want your code to repeat over and over and over, or you've realized I am doing this code, I have moved these blocks quite a lot. Why can't I just not do that? You know, it's like when we talk about mathematics, when you're talking about multiplication, we do 4. If you say 4 times 4, it's the same as 4 plus 4 plus 4 plus 4. So in this same scenario, you want an activity to take place 4 times. That means we are controlling it to take part 4 times. So you can use the block repeat. Instead of 10, you put 4, the number 4. We see wait 1 second. That means we are stopping the whole code to wait. That is why we're calling it controlling, almost like traffic. You can wait, you can stop the whole code, controlling the whole traffic to stop for 1 second. You can make this lane move for four intervals, for 4 intervals of 10 minutes. You can make this lane move forever for the whole day. Then all these other lanes stop. It's almost like traffic. We are calling it control blocks. So when we're using control blocks, this is where we bring things to do with sequences. And that's how students understand sequences. I'm hoping over time, as we keep doing more of these activities, we'll be able to talk about the same things as well, things on sequences, and we can do like different activities on the same as well. But that's where sequences come in. Then we can be able to understand as well. So we can also go to sensing. So sensing blocks, this is, you can see they have a different shape as compared to the others. They take the hexagonal shape. So you can see like touching mouse pointer. So we're literally sensing, does this specific sprite, is it touching a mouse pointer? Is it touching the color purple? Is the color gray touching the color green? Is the distance to the mouse pointer this specific thing? Is the distance to something else is specific? So sensing literally is sensing. We're trying to understand our surrounding, or the surrounding of the sprite. Is the sprite being touched by this? Is this being touched by this? Just that. Then we have operators. Operators are best used for mathematical operations. So you can see we have addition, subtraction, equal sign, division, all of them. We have others that are using the greater sign, the less than sign, not equal to, and then we have and or not. Those are logical operators. I hope we're also going to touch on them later on. And then we have things called variables, and variables, the basis of variables is we can use it especially in terms of scores. So like if we were playing a football game with Ben as a character, we'll be able to give Ben a score every time he puts the ball within the goal. I hope we're also going to get some time to do that. And then finally, we have my blocks. My blocks is it gives us an opportunity to create our own blocks. Sometimes you want to do things and the blocks are not already there for you. So you want to make your own block to do specific actions. So at the bottom, you can see there's a blue button, a blue section with a plus. Joel, you can just click on that, please. We call these extensions. And sometimes when we're using Scratch, we'll attach other things to make it more interactive. So you can see like music, play instruments and drums using Scratch. Pen, this is draw with your sprites. You click on this, it's going to help with that. Video sensing, sense motion with the camera. So you move things using the camera and it's sensing the motion using Scratch. Text to speech, all these things, the makey, the micro:bit, all these things, you can attach them. These are extensions that you can put to make Scratch more interactive. Scratch doesn't just have to be Scratch plainly, it can be Scratch and a couple of things. And then you can also see it's telling you requires. So you can see it requires like the micro:bit at the bottom. You can see it's showing you it requires Bluetooth and Wi-Fi. And it's telling you this is a collaboration with micro:bit. With the Lego Mindstorms, you can see it's showing you the Bluetooth and the Wi-Fi as well, collaboration with Lego. So you can also prepare yourself in advance when you decide, let me try and do this thing with my students. You can see in advance to understand these are the equipment I will require. I will require internet, I will require Bluetooth. You can see with the makey, it doesn't require anything. It's just telling us it's a collaboration with Joy Labs. So that means you'll just require a makey kit. Yeah, I hope we might get to do all these things together. So we can just go back, Joe. Let's go back to our, yes, thank you. The most important thing, especially when we're talking about Scratch, when we begin coding with Scratch, we have to understand that it's not just about coding, but it's about the content. What exactly are we trying to achieve? So it's sometimes you find it's easier when you're teaching about code, even when you want to understand code. Start dealing with it without in the concept whereby you're not thinking about the code yet. So like, let's say right now, ask yourself the question, if there's a problem in this world that I would want to solve, how would I do it? Then you put yourself in the situation whereby it's like a tech problem. You want to use technology to solve it. So like, even as an educator, try and put yourself in the situation whereby you want to teach your children your students how to understand climate change using code, or how to just understand climate change using Scratch. So from that point, you can decide from the point that means, I can either use a presentation, I can either use a game, I can either use both of them. I can just use a quick thing to do it. But in the moment, you can know with the context of your students, my students like games so much. They don't like presentations or videos more. They prefer games. So you can ask yourself, which kind of game can I come up with? What kind of game should I do? And then you can talk about, I want to teach them about poaching, or the 5 different animals, the big 5 in Kenya. So you can do a game whereby you collect the sprite collects different animals in a maze. You can do a game whereby or even a presentation whereby a video whereby it's just talking, like Ben and Amina are having a conversation about the different animals, the big 5 and all. And these are things that are capturing our students as well. So it's not, we have to think about Scratch beyond coding, and we have to approach it in the context of what exactly do I want to teach, and which is the best way for me to do it. It's very scary when you tell yourself, I'm learning code for the first time, and we understand that. But then we have to approach it with positivity, because we're also teaching our students this. So we approach it with positivity, knowing that our students are going to understand this, they're going to enjoy this. And I'm hoping with more interactions, we'll be able to deliver different ways of how to get part of how to understand, how to deliver the content in the best ways. But then for now, we're just doing a quick Scratch introduction and different things that we can do with Scratch. So Joe, what I'm gonna ask you to do is for you to place blocks for me. I want you to do blocks for me on my behalf. So what we're gonna do with the blocks is I want us to use our arrow keys, the up, down, left, right arrow keys, to move around the screen, to move a specific sprite around the screen. So we can just start, we can just maybe create a new project, Joe, or what do you think?
That's okay. That's okay.
Team, in case of any questions, please just drop them in the chat. As Joel is doing the code, and you feel like you've lagged behind on something, I'm willing to answer questions and everything in the chat. Okay, so Joe, we can just go back. Let's delete the backdrop that we have so that we can choose another one.
Okay.
So when we're deleting backdrops, what happens? We go to the parts to the right side of your screen where it's written stage, just down there where it's written stage. Click on what is on the backdrop that is there, just below. Click on the backdrop, and a stage, the image just below, click on it. Yes. And then you can see on your left side, we now have code, backdrops, and sound. Instead of what we had before, on your left side, just right above the blocks section, the block palette, on the left side of the screen. Yes. So we have code, backdrops, and sounds. So click on the backdrops section. Yes. And then here you can see all the backdrops that you've ever put, all of them. And I want us to also be able to switch the backdrops because I've seen Joel has done switching of costumes. So I want us to be able to do switching of backdrops. Yeah, we can go back to code. Just click on code right next to backdrops. Yes, amazing. Then let's put in a sprite. We can put in the cat sprite, the cat scratch sprite. So you can just go to the search bar up there. Okay, we can just use cat here. That's okay. So right now you can see where we checked on backdrops, we have code, costumes, sounds. We no longer have code, backdrops, sound. Okay, so we can click on the costumes, then we'll be able to see the different costumes that the cat sprite is giving us. So you can see the first one, it's walking. The second costume, just click on the second costume, Joe. And the second costume, it looks like it's just proceeded with the movement, yeah? Davis, I can see you've asked how do we add recorded sound and how can we customize the speech bubbles? We can get there. Let's just proceed with what we're doing first and we're gonna get there. I'll explain that to you if we have the time. So let's go to the code section, Joe. Good, amazing. So right now I want us to put different event blocks and we combine them with motion blocks. So the first event block I'll ask you to put is when the green flag is clicked. When green flag is clicked, amazing. Then I want us to go to the looks blocks. And let's make our Scratch sprite say something so we can make it say, let's move around. Yeah, so let's do say hello for 2 minutes. Yeah, that one is okay. Yes. So Davis, your question regarding, okay, William, just a second. Davis, your question regarding how can we customize the speech bubbles? I'm not sure if you mean customizing in the name of changing the background of the speech bubbles, or do you mean like the content? What do you mean by customizing the speech bubbles? You can just put that in the comment section.
The content.
The content inside the speech bubbles.
Yeah.
Okay, sawa sawa. William, kindly repeat on how do we change the sprites? Okay, amazing. So on the right side of the screen, you can see there are two buttons. So there's two blue buttons. There's one that has like a cat with a plus button, and the next one that looks like it has an image with a plus button. So Joel, just click on the sprite, on the adding sprite button. That one. So you can see it has different options. Just go back, Joel, for a second. Sorry. Just put your mouse on it before you click on it. Good. So you can see we have the search, the magnifying one. So that means search for a sprite. The one right above looks like a paintbrush. That one is paint a sprite. The one just above is the one that looks like yeah, just go above again. Yeah, so this one is a surprise. It gives you any random sprite. You don't know which one is coming up. It just gives you a random sprite. Then the one above, that's upload a sprite. So you can take images, you can download images and make them sprites. So William, for you to use a sprite like what we have just done, we've used the choose a sprite, yes. So Joel, you can just go to choose a sprite. Then here are all the sprites that we have. So this is where we came, and then we went down, we scrolled down, and we picked the cat sprite. There we go. So sometimes you might want, you don't want to scroll all over the whole sprite, and you feel like you have an idea of the sprite you want. You can just use the search bar up there to search for the sprite that you're looking for. Sometimes you might be having an idea of a sprite that you want and it doesn't exist. So this saves you the time of having to scroll all over the whole list while trying to get a sprite that is non-existent. Okay, thank you. Thank you, William. Yes, thank you, Joel, as well. So we can go back. So to answer your question, Davis, on how to change the content. So anywhere you see the ovalish shape that is white, you can change the content. So where it's written say hello, Joel, you can just change that to say happy to be here. So you can just put your cursor on the content, then you just erase everything that is there, and then you type whatever you want to type. Even for the 2 seconds, we can change it to be 1 second so that everyone can see that it's also customizable. Yes. So anywhere you see the white oval shape, just know you can change the content. Doesn't matter if it's the looks block, motion block, sound block, it's possible for it to be changed. As long as it's oval shaped and it is white, it is possible for it to be changed. Okay, so let's proceed. I want us to put an events block. let's put an events block that's called when space key is pressed. Good. So you can see that the space key is pressed, the part written space, it has a drop down, it has an arrow. So when you click on the arrow, it gives you different keys, and all these keys exist on our keyboards. So it shows you up arrow, down arrow, A, B, C, D, all the way to Z, and they're all existent on our keyboard. All the keys that are there. You can even see it's telling you press when any key is pressed. So what we are going to do, I wanted us to use up, down, left, right arrow. I want us to take the right arrow key when right arrow key is pressed. Yeah, so we want that when the right arrow key is pressed, our sprite moves to the front. It glides to the front, yeah? So what we're going to do, just right under the right arrow, address right under the block, let's go to motion. Let's pick a motion block for move 10 steps. Move 10 steps. That's amazing. So like I had mentioned earlier, when you see motion block, that means movement. So that's why we've picked it, because I have mentioned I want our sprite to move to the front. So movement comes with motion blocks, yeah? So we can change the move 10 steps, like I had mentioned, anywhere that has the ovally shape and it is white, we can change the content. So we can do move 5 steps. Good, amazing. Thank you, Joel. So next, I want us to pick the same block that we did, the same events block that we picked. So when space key is pressed, but then instead of space key, I want us to do left arrow. If there are any clarifications needed to be made, don't hesitate, just to drop it in the chat section. I am going through them and I will guide you. Okay, so let's do left arrow. Good, thank you, Joel. Then, so when we click on the left arrow, we want our sprite to go back, to glide on the back side. So what are we going to do? We're going to take move a motion block again. So we're going to take move 10 steps again. But then there's a difference on how we're going to do our code in this scenario. So when we do graphs in mathematics, we have x-axis, y-axis, negative on the x-axis, and negative on the y-axis. This is the same thing with sprites. Joe, where we have the x, can you just kindly put 0? And where we have y, kindly put 0 as well. Amazing. So you can see our sprite has moved to the 0, 0 point. That is where we usually draw our axis meeting, the beginning point, the 0, 0 point. So that is where we've placed our cut. If we are to change y to be, let's say, minus 20, kindly do that for me, Joe. Y to be minus 20. You can see the sprite has gone down. If we are to do x to be minus 20, let's do x minus 20, please. We see the sprite moving towards the left side. So that is what we are trying to achieve when the left arrow key is pressed. We want our sprite to move on the negative side. So where we have move 10 steps, we won't just do move 10 steps, we'll do move minus 10 steps for it to move on the negative axis. If I have lost someone somewhere, please just don't hesitate, just put it in the chat section and I will answer your question. So then we can proceed. Now I want us to target the up arrow and the down arrow. So we can just do the same thing. Let's go to the events blocks. Let's pick when space key pressed again, but then let's change space to up arrow. Then let's put a motion block for our sprite to move upwards. So move 10 steps. Amazing. Then finally, I want us to put the final block for when down arrow key is pressed. Just using the same event block for when space key is pressed. Then let's put a motion block for move 10 steps again. Amazing. Thank you so much, Joel. So one thing I want us to also remember, when we are going down, when we click on down, that means we are going down along the y-axis. So that means we are going to use a negative number. The same case when we're using the x-axis. When we are moving to the left side, that means we're going on the negative side. So that's why we use the -10. But when we're going on the positive side, we don't use a plus. We can just use the normal number. So when we're going on the down axis again, we use a -10. So it's going to be move -10 steps. Okay, we've been able to do so. If there are any questions, I insist, just drop them in the chat section. I am willing to assist, and I'm also very, very patient. Don't hesitate, I will be here to help out. So Joe, we can click on the green flag so that we can see what is gonna happen. So when we click on the green flag, you can see happy to be here. It happened for 1 second. That's why it's just disappeared very fast. But then you saw it pop up. So you can increase the period of time. Let's make it like 5 seconds. So when we add 5 seconds, click on the green flag. Happy to be here. You can see it stays for a longer time. Okay, then it disappears. William, is there any order to follow when adding? Let's say motion, looks, events. I'm trying to add some, but okay, so I'll explain that as we proceed. Let's just finish up on this, then I'm going to explain it to you. So now I want you to use your arrow keys to move the sprite. So click on the up arrow key, the down arrow key, to the left, the right, to see how your sprite is gonna move. Joe, please do that for me. Exactly. So when you click on the items on the different arrow keys on your keyboard, you can see them moving around. So when you click on the left arrow key, it should move towards the negative side. When you click on the right arrow key, it should move towards the positive side. When you click the up arrow key, it should move towards the positive side on the y-axis. When you click on the down arrow key, it should move on the negative side of the y-axis. Okay, so Joe, the other thing I want to explain is how to make your code look pleasant. So like you can see when we were dealing with the code, it gets to a point the screen is a bit smaller. Now you have to scroll down. It gets to a point maybe your code is lying on each other, the different blocks. So what I'm going to ask you to do, Joe, the blank space, the white space where we are putting our code, just right click on it. Yes, that space, just right click. Okay, so I want you can see we have undo, cleanup blocks, add comment, delete 10 blocks. So just click on cleanup blocks. And you can see it organizes them for you. So it moves them on the perfect side. So you can just move up and everything is neater now. It's not clustered, it's not crowded and everything of the sort. Then the other thing I want you to realize is you can see every event block it starts on its own. You can see the motion blocks. The motion blocks have like a thing on the bottom for them to get attached to. Even on the top, you can see on the top they have like a bump. On the bottom they have a bump that is exiting. On the top it's a bump that is getting on the inside. On the bottom it's a bump that's coming on the outside. The same with the looks blocks. But then you can see with the events block at the top, they don't have that bump. So that means event blocks can be used. That doesn't mean all the time, but then on most occasions, event blocks are used to begin the code because of the shape they've taken. When you go to control, just click on the control blocks. Click on the control blocks, Joe, please. When you go to the control blocks, then just scroll down slightly. You can see when I start as a clone, it hasn't taken the same shape as all these other control blocks, but then it has taken the same shape as an event block. That means that block can be used to start the code. If you put the move 6 steps block on its own, the code won't be able to run because, as I had mentioned earlier, activities happen because of an event. Activities happen because we are pushed to do something. The same thing in life, we do things because we have been pushed to do something. Let's take the scenario of having to work. We work because we need to earn a living. So if we didn't need to earn a living, we wouldn't have worked. The same thing, if we don't want our sprite to say happy to be here, we don't need the green flag. But then we'll put when we put the green flag, if we want our sprite to say happy to be here, we need the event to happen. We need the event when green flag is clicked. If we don't want to earn a living, we won't need to go to work. But then if we want to earn a living, we need to go to work. And to go to work is the event. The activity is earning a living. Going to work is the event. Without the activity, we don't need this event. So the same thing, if we don't have the event when right key is pressed, we don't need move 6 steps, because that means the block is just there. It doesn't really have a purpose. It needs to be pushed to start. In programming, we call it event-driven programming. So an event happens for the program to be driven to run. Is it that one has to always tap the green flag for the activities to take place? Not always. So if we are to decide to remove the blocks for when the green flag is clicked, Joel, you can just remove them, just delete when green flag is clicked and say happy to be here blocks. Even the say happy to be here block, you can just remove it. Okay, so in this scenario, we don't have to click our green flag because we don't have when the green flag is clicked block. But then try to click on the keyboard keys, the up, down, right, and left arrow keys. Let's see what happens to our sprite. The sprite moves because those events are happening. We don't necessarily need when the green flag is clicked. So when the green flag is clicked, it was happening to that specific activity that was there. The event caters for that specific activity that is there. It's the same way. You can't say I go to work to earn a living is going to affect a matatu driver. It's not going to affect, it's all different things. You going to work to earn a living does not affect a student's life, like a student who's very independent on their own. It's because those are different activities, those are different events. This student has their own reason to study. You have your own reason to go into work. It's the same thing that's happening here. We have our own reason to have the say hello. That is the green flag. And we also have our own reason for moving 5 steps, which is the right arrow key being pressed. And we also have our own reason to moving minus 10 steps. That is because the left arrow key has been pressed. That is it. The events are independent, but they all perform different activities. I hope I have made sense. If there are any questions, just drop them in the, yes, Pardon, I'm sorry, I couldn't hear you.
I'm saying I think
Okay, I'm not sure. Joe, might you have heard those questions?
Audible. No, it's not audible. Could you please come up clear?
Hello?
Yes, hello, we can hear you now.
I was saying,
Yes.
we call it a night. Time has already gone. Can continue from there next time.
Yes,
Yeah,
for
we are
sure.
finalizing.
We're actually winding up. And I think I'm actually done. I just wanted to make sure that I've answered all the questions that are there. Yeah, but I think we're actually done. So the biggest takeaways from this class is the difference, the function of the event blocks, how they look, the shape of the other blocks and how they look. You can't connect an event block with an event block. You can't connect an event block after a motion block. The event block will come before the motion block, not the other way around. We've talked about how to select sprites. We've talked about how to select backdrops, how to change content within a block. Those are things we've talked about. The different block palettes that exist, the block content that exists in the block palettes, how to make your code look prettier, like very organized. Yeah, so I think those are basics to introduction to Scratch. If you understand how those things work, it's going to be easy to maneuver around Scratch. So it's important for us to know the terminologies like blocks, sprites, control, events. Those are important things for us to learn. But apart from that, I feel like we've made so much progress, and these are things we can pick up on in the next sessions. And I'm happy that you guys have shown up, and this is very exciting. I'll pass it over back to you, Joel. Thank you so much for facilitating.
Yeah, thank you so much, Afandi, for a wonderful presentation. I think if the questions are there, we can carry them forward. And so at this point in time, I just want us to take a photo. If you don't mind, put your camera on so that we have a photo and then we call it a night. Kindly. Okay.
Kuba is raising his hand.
Who is raising his hand? Let's let that question be. We're actually running out of time. Maybe you can put the question on the chat and then Afandi will reply even when we are out.
Okay, fine. When is the next lesson?
We shall communicate. We shall communicate in the WhatsApp, and so you'll get informed. Don't mind about it. Okay. We are taking a snap, a photo. No. 1, 2, 3. Okay. Thank you guys for joining the call.
Thank you.